Hi, welcome back to my mom life. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Jordan, and today we're making a pumpkin French toast casserole. Let's get started. The first step is to make the cream cheese filling. So I went ahead and heated up my cream cheese just so that it was super easy to mix. If your cream cheese is at room temperature and you want to do it that way, you can, but I just nuked mine in the microwave for a few seconds and it was super smooth and easy to mix up. I added in the cinnamon, vanilla, and then the powdered sugar. This French toast casserole has 3 steps that we need to prepare before we start putting everything together. So this is the first thing that I'm gonna go ahead and get ready. It's the filling. It's so yummy. I mean, if you love cream cheese, cheesecake, things like that, you're gonna love this. So I'm gonna mix all of that together. I'll set that aside, and then we're gonna move on to the pumpkin mixture. All right, now that we have that ready, let's make the pumpkin mixture. So I'm gonna go ahead and measure out my pumpkin. This is just 100% pumpkin, canned pumpkin. Definitely don't do the pumpkin pie filling. That will completely change this recipe. So I'm gonna go ahead and measure that out, and then I'm gonna add in all of our other ingredients. So the milk and all of the eggs. There's 6 eggs, so lots of eggs. French toast needs eggs. And then our spices. So I have cinnamon and pumpkin pie spice that I'm gonna go ahead and throw in here. And then just a little bit of brown sugar to add some sweetness. A splash of vanilla, and then we'll go ahead and give it a mix. I'm just gonna whisk this until all of the eggs are broken up and everything's combined together. And then I'm gonna set that aside and we're gonna make our streusel topping. I know that it is a little early for pumpkin things. Fall is still like 2 months away, but I'm just ready. So I'm gonna start rolling out some pumpkin videos. Hope you're cool with that. But if you aren't ready for it, go ahead and save this one because this is a good one. Put it in the back of your mind for when you are ready because you're gonna want this in the fall, I promise. So now I'm gonna do my streusel topping, which is just flour, brown sugar, cinnamon. I had a little bit of extra brown sugar in that bag, so I went ahead and just used it instead of saving it. And then I'm gonna cube up some butter. It's just a half a stick of butter, so a 1/4 cup of butter. And then I'm gonna take my pastry blender and go ahead and cut the butter in until we get little teeny tiny pebble-sized butter all throughout. And then I'm gonna set that aside and get to assembling this. So I have some old sub buns, that's what I'm using. They're buns that you get in like the bakery. So if you have like French bread or some stale sandwich bread, anything that is not moldy, but it's definitely, you know, a little crusty, crunchy, that is like what's best for this. You could even buy one of those dollar French loaves at Walmart and go ahead, set it on the counter all day and it will harden for you, and then you can go ahead and make this. So I have my casserole dish that I have greased, and I'm gonna do a layer of bread. I did half of my bread here, and then I'm gonna top that with some of our egg and pumpkin mixture. So half of the pumpkin mixture will go on top of there. Just eyeball it. Do your best to kind of eyeball it. And then we're gonna spread on our cream cheese filling. This is something that's really good to make the night before and then pop it in the fridge and pull out in the morning and throw it in the oven. It does need to kind of refrigerate for at least 2 hours, if not overnight, so that that bread can really soak up the pumpkin and eggs. I just think that it's better that way. If you wanted to go ahead and throw it right in the oven, you could, but I recommend letting it sit for a little bit. So if you have time to let it sit for 2 hours in the fridge, do that, or just let it sit overnight, and then the next morning, which is what I did, the next morning, pull it out and pop it in the oven. So now that I have all of the cream cheese mixture going on, I'm going to top it with another layer of bread. I kind of was strategic where I placed the bread. I wanted to cover up as much of that cream cheese as I could, so I did my best to just kind of, you know, make a little puzzle with my bread there and fill in all the gaps. Once I did that, it's time to cover it with the rest of the egg mixture. This pan that I'm using is not quite a 13 by 9 pan. I think it's a Pioneer Woman pan, so it's close. You could use a 13 by 9 if you want. So now that I have that on there, I'm gonna take a little spatula, you could use a spoon or something, and just make sure that all of those pieces of bread are coated in that egg mixture. So I'm just pushing down gently to make sure that they're all nice and coated in that egg mixture. I even kind of spooned some on one of the pieces that I couldn't get to get coated. You'll see here in just a second. There we go. Now, once I've done doing that, we're gonna top it with our streusel topping. And like I said, I put mine in the fridge overnight. You could do 2 hours, whatever you want, but just cover it with plastic wrap and then pop it in the fridge. So this is the next morning. I pulled it out of the fridge, preheated my oven to 350 and baked it for 40 to 45 minutes. This is what it looks like when it's all done baking. It's golden brown. It's so yummy. You definitely want to let it cool though, because that cream cheese filling is going to be hot and it'll just kind of make a mess. It'll ooze out everywhere. So let it cool for a good 15-20 minutes until you cut into it, because this stays really hot for a while. I went ahead and cut a piece and you can see that cream cheese layer in there. I served mine with some syrup and whipped cream and a little bit of cinnamon on top. This is so yummy. I cannot wait for fall to have all of the fall recipes. Sorry if it's too soon for you. Just like I said, save it for later. But I will have more pumpkin videos coming your way too, because I'm just so ready. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And if you are new, I hope you subscribe and stick around, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye guys.